it's like kind of like an intro to what I feel like for my article, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. I'm Kaylee.
I'm Jared,
I'm Brittany.
I'm Amy.
and I think we lost one other person.
Lost Amanda.
Lost Amanda.
Okay, so should we
We're
just
not having
start?
technical difficulties at all.
Oh, there she is.
She is.
Maybe she's there. Should we just start it, or?
I think we're good to just start.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can go if you don't want to go.
I think it said
Yeah,
The humanist goes first.
Okay.
So. All right, my opening statement. I'm still trying to figure it out. Well, for me, in this article, there's a few things that hit that I really stood out to me. It was in the second part of the manifesto that says the separation of church and state and the separation of ideology and state are imperatives. Growing up in California, where religion isn't spoken to that often, I think that it's definitely something that we should do, that the church and state should separate. Another thing that they pointed out was that the principle of moral equality must be furthered through elimination of all discrimination based upon race, religion, sex, age, or national origin. So this is saying that for humanists, that they everyone's equal, that there is no discriminating between what they look like or anything like that. It's all based on what. You guys can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so it's Amanda, okay. Sorry, train of thought. Yeah, so they believe that everyone is equal, no matter what race, religion, anything. They're all just equal. They also say that we believe in the right to universal education. Everyone has the right to a cultural opportunity to fulfill his or her unique capacities and talents. So, by being able to have everyone be involved in their culture and their diversity brings about unity across the world. Another thing that it talks about that I really like, there's one more after this. It says that the problems of economic growth and development can no longer be resolved by one nation alone. That the world needs to be united. That we shouldn't have to fear that another country is going to take over someone else, but that we should be united across the whole world, everyone helping each other. And the final one that I thought was good was we must expand communication and transportation across frontiers. Travel restrictions must cease. The world must be open to diverse political, ideological, and moral viewpoints. So it's saying that we shouldn't have borders or boundaries. Everyone should just be welcome. We should be able to talk within one another about our differences and be able to come to some kind of reasoning. I think that's pretty accurate, and I think that's how the world should work. I feel if we did that, then we would be able to be more united as a world. There'd be less wars, there'd be less contention, because we would all be striving for the same thing. And there you go.
Cool. Well, I think, do I just go now?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so sorry if he's crying. We believe that religious freedom is a right that everyone should have, and that currently our religious freedoms are being attacked. We need to stand up and advocate for good morals, not just for ourselves, but for everyone's right to practice and believe in whatever religion of their choice is. Our great nation was founded on the very principles of religious freedom. Elder Oaks said, it was a really good quote, he said, this principle of popular sovereignty was written and applied on the American continent over 200 years ago. A group of colonies won independence from a king, and the representatives had the unique opportunity of establishing a new government. They did this by creating the first written constitution that had survived to govern a modern nation. The United States Constitution declared the source of government power, delegated that power to a government, and regulated its exercise. We can't in good conscience change the very goal of a document that has brought us a whole nation its independence and freedom against oppression and persecution of religious freedom. Elder Oaks also said, popular minority religions are especially dependent upon a constitutional guarantee of free exercise of religion. We are fortunate to have such a guarantee in the United States, but many nations don't. The importance of that guarantee in the United States should make us even more diligent to defend it. And it is in need of being defended. During, this is still from Elder Oaks, sorry. During my lifetime, I have seen a significant deterioration in the respect accorded to religion in our public life, and I believe that the vitality of religious freedom is in danger of being weakened accordingly. We live in a society that views religious morals as judgmental or bigoted. To the contrary, they're quite opposite. The majority of religious beliefs and practices are to better the individual, the family, and society in general. There's going to come a time when all citizens who value the freedom to speak what they believe in a public forum will be and practices need to be respected just as much as other civil rights, one of which Elder Oaks mentioned was gay marriage. It's important for religious voices to be heard just as equally as secular voices within the public square, because we can't just have, we have to have, I guess the religious voice has to have as much influence as a secular voice within our society. In closing, our opening statement, religious freedom is not just a right, it's a necessity for the moral foundation of our society, and it needs to be protected and empowered within our community. I mean, think about it. Would you want your children to grow up in a world where they can, say whatever they want and, they're protected, or do you want them to be taught that what they believe in should be something that's kept behind closed doors and not in a public display? So that's mine.
Excellent job.
That was good.
Sorry if he's crying. Sorry if he's crying.
No, you're good.
No worries. Okay, round 2, main arguments. I know Amanda's having a hard time.
Yeah.
I'm doing the main argument part, though.
Okay.
So I hope she makes it for the cross-examination. If not, then I don't blame her. It looks like she can't connect or something.
No, she can't hear us once she gets on. Okay, mine's going to be kind of jumbled because I just have different quotes that I really liked that kind of show our point. So, sorry if it's a little jumbled, and I'm a little jumbled today, as you could tell by not getting on the right link. But humanists believe that the distinction between sacred and secular can no longer be maintained, that we need to become kind of one. The individuals should be encouraged to realize their own creative talents and desires. We reject all religious, ideological, or moral codes that degenerate the individual, suppress freedom, dull intellect, dehumanize personality. We believe in maximum individual autonomy, consonant with social responsibility. So humanists just believe that all things should be done for the individual, that it should be focused on the individual reaching their highest level of human personality and development, and that nothing should suppress that, whether it be religious or ideology or moral codes, that people should be free to do what they feel is necessary to reach their highest personality development. Humanity to survive requires bold and daring measures. We need to extend the use of scientific method, not renounce them. To fuse reason with compassion in order to build constructive social and moral values. Confronted by many possible futures, we must decide which to pursue. The ultimate goal should be the fulfillment of the potential for growth in each human personality, not for the favored few, but all humankind. Only a shared world and global measures will suffice. So a lot of people against humanism are against it because it's so focused on individuals, but it's really focused on the individuals so that everyone has equal opportunity, not just the people that are high class or high middle class have opportunities to do what they want, that everyone will have equal opportunities and that nothing will stop them from reaching their fullest potential. And they really think that the scientific method is the best way to do that, that research that has been found is valid through this scientific process should be used and available to everyone, not just a select few. They believe that our focus should be on reason, intellect, and human experience rather than revelation and religion, because you can't prove what's been said through revelation and religion. And a lot of times, a lot of wars and stuff have been started based on religion or revelation, and a lot of problems have come from that. So they feel that that just needs to be rid of. If people want to practice religion, it needs to be something they do privately and not something that they do publicly. Let's see, we assume that humanism will take the path of social and mental hygiene and discourage sentiment and unreal hopes and wishful thinking. So they really just want to focus on what can be proved, what's been true, and what they know is right, so that we're not going off and doing things that are hurtful to others or aren't going to work out. They just want everyone to do what they know will work out to reach their highest potential. I think that's everything I had.
Perfect. Best group.
Thanks for your confidence.
Yep.
Okay, so as for some of the main arguments for Elder Oaks, he talks about how since the beginning of our country, we've been founded upon the precepts of freedom, or as stated in the Constitution, the rights and protection of all flesh. Because of how influential this Constitution has been, as my partner stated, it's been so influential that it's influenced almost every other nation in their constitutions. And one of the strongest ideals in our Constitution is our right to religious freedom, along with the freedom of speech and press. Religion has been the foundation of many nations since the beginning of time. It's been based off of religion. Whether you go to Arab nations or whether you go to Chinese Buddhism, or pretty much any nation that you go to has a foundation in religion. And because of the strong foundation that religion has set for the United States, the United States Constitution included the First Amendment to protect that right, to protect our freedom of religion, speech, and press. This not only includes the right to believe what we want to, but it also gives us the opportunity to choose what we want to believe and also to exercise or practice our religions, obviously in public, or how we feel is necessary. Obviously, these practices must be done understanding the health and safety of others, and Elder Oaks mentions this in his talk, that it can't infringe on someone else's health or safety, and it's the right of the government to protect all others. However, these protections of health and safety must focus on actions and practices of acknowledging the freedom of speech and press, as long as it's not threatening or anything. These rights need to be protected not only for the larger religions, but also for the minority religions. He also points out that in the Constitution, religious freedom is the First Amendment. Therefore, it is intended to grant almost more freedom to religious action than to any other kinds of action. This stems from the constant risk that many religions, or that religious freedom has always been under. The repression that drove the first people, the Pilgrims, to come and find a new place, whereas to practice their religion was here. Today, Elder Oaks states that there are two threats to religion. the rising strength of those who seek to silence religious voices in public debates. And the second one is perceived conflicts between religious freedom and the popular appeal of newly alleged civil rights. As for the silencing of religious voices, Elder Oaks stated that Richard John Neuhaus said, in a democracy that is free and robust, an opinion is no more disqualified for being religious than for being atheist or psychoanalytic or Marxist or just plain dumb, meaning that the religious person or religious persons have just as much right to speak as those who are scientific or humanistic or any other kind. As for those perceived conflicts between religious freedom and civil rights, along with the Proposition 8, the gay marriage and all of that, many claim that civil rights their civil rights are being infringed on when it's not a civil right. It's actually, they're not taking away from any of their rights to speak, to state their opinions, or to fight the laws on this and to try and get this freedom. The civil rights that are being infringed upon are actually the religious rights, saying that they need to be silent, saying that they shouldn't be involved in these debates. And yeah, sorry, that's pretty much all I have. And
all right, awesome.
Those are the main arguments.
All right, so now we do cross-examination, right?
Yeah, so the humanist side will ask one question, then the religious side will ask one question, then we'll switch and go for about 10 minutes.
Okay. Is it only me that's answering, or is it like me and you, Kaylee?
I think we both can answer.
Okay.
Limited.
Yeah, Amanda is still having issues, so.
That's okay.
Okay. So we ask a question first?
Yep.
Okay, so Kaylee, do you have a question, or?
Go for it first if you have one.
I'm trying to think of one. Why would religious freedom be an important aspect for the world?
Well, because Amanda's out. According to Elder Oaks, he talks about how religious freedom has kind of been the basis for every nation. It's the basis of the nations because it provides moral grounds on which people can act and which people cannot act. This includes the simple ones, such as like thou shalt not kill. Obviously, we know that people shouldn't be killing each other, and those are some of the more accepted ones. And religion has always been the main thing that has brought those morals to a nation, and it's had each nation kind of protected each nation and the members of their nation. And so as a world, we need to keep that, because otherwise those moral values and precepts that have been so important for thousands of years will just go away, and there won't be any of those moral grounds on which to continue to build your nation or to protect the people of your nation.
All right, that's pretty good. You guys have a question for us now?
I can ask a question.
Okay.
So, while I was reading your Humanist Manifesto, the second part, it says humanism can provide the purpose and inspiration that so many seek. It can give personal meaning and significance to human life. And when I read that, I was kind of confused because I feel like religion does this already. In which case, humanism is a kind of religion. And if it's a kind of religion, it should be practiced privately, correct?
We do not believe that. I don't know. Kaylee?
So, I'll see if I can do this, but so humanism I guess some could call it a religion, but we do not focus on, it's more of atheism. So do you call atheism a religion? Because it focuses on reason and intellect and human experience rather than revelation and that aspect. So it would not, unless you consider atheism a religion, then it wouldn't really be considered a religion because it focuses on scientific research and what's been proven by scientific research, and if it hasn't been proven by scientific research, it shouldn't be publicized.
Amen to that. But not religious. We're not a religion. So.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to say anything else.
Yeah, I think, okay.
I thought of another question, and I'll see if I can word it right. It's in my head, but I just can't seem to write it down right. But in your paper, it talks about how the Supreme Court is the one that has the responsibility of interpreting the meaning of the Constitution. So religious freedom was interpreted differently back then when it was first created as it is now. So how does that affect religious freedom? Because when we had 9/11, they started discriminating against Muslims and stuff, but is that religious freedom? Like, it seems like there isn't really a line of what religious freedom is. It's whatever the government wants it to be at the time.
Did you want to answer that one?
I can kind of answer a little bit of it. I think the government kind of regulates it so that like it makes, I guess it doesn't allow people to practice like their religion if it's infringing on another person's rights. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's so if it's harming anyone in any kind of way, the government doesn't allow it. It's not, I don't know if it's not legal or what the term would be, but
So
did I answer your question?
Because
I'm not sure if I did.
However many Muslims did a terrorist attack, all Muslims are now bad? Because that's kind of what they made it seem like.
I think that's also a matter of opinion because, I mean, obviously there was a lot of people that were kind of against people using all Muslims as a stereotype and saying that all Muslims are bad. So I guess like the Supreme, like they have the right to interpret the law, and they can interpret as far as protecting the people. But as far, I don't know, going as far to say that all Muslims are bad, I feel like that isn't necessarily what was meant to happen, and I think a lot of people were against that aspect of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Now your question for us.
Do you have one, or do you want me to do another?
Yeah, if you could do another one. I don't have one. Sorry. See if I can maybe ask Amanda to give me her question.
That.
Okay. So I'm obviously a big like theory person, and something that I found interesting is in the manifesto it talks a lot about how religion is outdated, how people need to change and go with scientific things and focus more on evidence and stuff. But from a functionalist perspective, religion has played such a huge part in helping our societies continue to grow for such a long time. And in the manifesto, it says that they are powerless to solve the problem of human living in the 20th century. And I guess my question is, how is that possible if, from a functionalist perspective, the reason why religion is still around today is because it serves a function, and that function is in helping the human survive in today's world or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Well, to answer that question, I would go back to how we believe that, where is it? Sorry, give me a second. Where it talks about, sorry, give me one sec, I thought I had it marked.
I can read a little quote I have while you're finding that, Jared.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So one thing that the manifesto says is, while this age does owe a vast debt to traditional religions, it is nonetheless obvious that any religion that can hope to be a synthesizing and dynamic force for today must be shaped for the needs of this age. To establish such a religion is a major necessity for the present. So it's not saying that all religion is bad, it's saying that though traditional religion has set a great groundwork for what we have, it's not good enough for this century. It's not going to solve our problems. It's not going to be a dynamic force in the world today. It's set a great stage, but what we have isn't good enough anymore. We need to focus more on scientific research and the vast things that we have discovered through that.
There's also something I'd like to add to that is it says, using technology wisely, we can control our environment, conquer poverty, markedly reduce disease, extend our lifespan, significantly modify our behavior, alter the course of human evolution and cultural development. We can unlock vast new powers and provide mankind with an unparalleled opportunity for achieving an abundant and meaningful life. So yeah, religion is something that people have the faith in, but for the humanist I don't know, point of view, we know that science and technology is what's going to take us and propel us on to the next step. So.
Can I just say something on top of that I thought of? Like, if you think about all that science has done, like, has religion brought us telephones? Has religion brought us medicine and vaccinations? No, it's been the science that's done that. So though religion has had a place, it's not getting us where we need to be now.
It's a bold statement.
Well, we're winning this debate.
We'll just say that whatever is said here stays here.
Yeah, I don't believe it, by the way.
Okay.
And doesn't go with us.
So, I mean, yeah, you guys probably can't even top that. So.
Okay, do you have a question for them, Jared?
Let's see.
Hello?
Hey, I'm trying to think. Sorry, I have a question.
Oh, I just lost everyone for like a couple seconds.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're
That's
here,
okay. We're all here.
though. How can the religion, I don't know. Can you think of another question, Keely? I'm trying to think of one.
I guess just kind of going with the question that you asked us, what do you feel religion has for you? Like, what can it offer that scientific research can't?
Well, I think the power of faith is pretty incredible. Do you know what I mean? Most people believe in something. I think that's a pretty, I mean, I don't have statistics or anything right in front of me, but I think most people actually believe in some kind of higher power, whatever it may be, and that kind of propels them through difficult times in their lives. Do you know what I mean? Like, science and technology, they can only get you so far. I mean, that doesn't bring you true happiness, but I guess that's coming from a religious perspective.
But couldn't someone have faith in scientific research and power as a higher...
But I guess it goes back to, where do you think it comes from? Because I think that ultimately science and technology does come from Heavenly Father. I think that He has inspired scientists and I guess people in this modern age to give us, you know, certain advantages that we didn't have before. I don't think it's just technology developed. I think Heavenly Father did play a role in it.
I also want to go off of what you were saying earlier in answer to the first question. Like, what does it bring? I think, like, you can learn a lot of stuff with the scientific method. You can almost get to absolutes with it. But at the same time, there's a lot that's lacking, as she was saying. I think one thing that the scientific method cannot prove is the millions of personal experiences with religion that people have had. You can't deny a personal experience that someone has had, and it's not just one or two people that have had it that you can say, oh, they're kind of crazy, but it's millions and millions of people who have had experiences with a spiritual experience with a higher power or with some other power that that influences them to believe. And I feel like these are considered case studies, which is also part of the scientific method. It's also part of science is a case study. There's many case studies that are done that people learn from, and they get a lot of good information from simply case studies. And I think the denial of these experiences is denying one of the ways that you can gain information and gain knowledge, which should be the goal of the humanist perspective.
Whatevs. That was good.
On a side note, you both did a great job.
Yeah.
Now we're back to
You guys did.
To migrate or to switch to the other side, it's pretty cool to think that Elder Irene's dad was like a well-known like scientist or chemist or something like that. So it's like pretty interesting to see that even though he was like this, like he was a bishop and everything, and he was a worldly known scientist, and he had all the faith that we have. So
yeah,
possible, you know. But okay, to be honest, I have another class in about 15 minutes. So
okay. Should we hurry and move to closing statements and wrap up?
Sorry.
Yeah.
No worries. I think we all would like to go.
Okay. So to close, let me just pull it up and. Okay, so to close, you can see here that even though religion, we've talked about religion and about its influences on the world, we see that humanist belief and thought is what's going to carry the world to the next level. It's what's going to keep us as humanity sane and keep us in a way that will help us to be more united and be able to help us grow mentally, because we are focusing on science, we're focusing on the truth and evidence, and so we're going to be able to see how we can be more influential to the world. Yep.
Okay, so in closing, the fact of the matter is that religious freedom isn't something that we should just take for granted. It's something that we all need to be able to have and to pursue, to be able to just express ourselves how we'd like. It's a right that we have been granted in this country that others don't have. We need to do everything that we can to protect it, and not just mainstream religions, but minorities as well. As citizens, you know, we have an obligation to advocate for not just our rights, but for everyone's rights. And one of the most important aspects is to pursue whatever belief system that you hold. And the ability to not just believe in something, but to physically act upon it, you know, it can't be infringed upon, and it can't be second to another person's right. Do you know what I mean? We're in a time where, like, right now, and people speak out against what's popular, you know, amongst the majority or the crowd today. And that needs to stop. You know, it's imperative not only just for the moral development of our country, but for the ethical development of our entire society, is that, you know, we need to hear the voices from all different parties, from secular and religious. You know, it's not just, we can't only hear the people who shout the loudest. You know what I mean? So that's mine.
Nice.
Great job.
Good job, guys.
Beautiful.
But let's be honest, we won if they ask.
Right.
Okay.
Just for this debate we won, but in the real world we want
Yeah.
We're all for you. As soon as we hit end. Okay, I think there's 2 questions we have to hurry and answer, just not as debate, just together. So do you think the authors of the articles were taking a high moral ground or making a moral statement? Why or why not?
reading the first one, the manifesto, I believe that it was kind of like a I'm better than you guys kind of thought. Like that was what I was thinking, just maybe because I don't really believe it, and so my thought was this guy's just trying to prove that he's better than everyone and that his thoughts and beliefs are more important and that we should listen to what he says. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I think obviously Elder Oaks was on a moral ground.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so I was just going to say that same thing. I think, and also, if you look at the bottom of the article for Elder Oaks, he pretty much gave you kind of like tips. Do you know what I mean? Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. It was like, he listed off like 5 things that we should be doing, basically. And one of them is like, it's not bashing people. Do you know what I mean? I think that's where people stop listening to people, is when you start getting hurtful. And I think Elder Oaks kind of touched upon that even though we have different kind of beliefs, and you have to stand up for what you believe in no matter what. It's not okay to tear somebody down. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. The last question is, are religious folks the only ones with values and morals? Can morals exist without religion? Why or why not?
I don't think so. I think there's lots of people that have, values, good values, that don't believe in a God or that don't believe in religion in general. They can still have good morals.
Yeah, I believe the same thing. I believe there's good people out there that aren't religious, that believe in science and are great people. They just have the right morals and stuff, but they're just a different belief, different feeling,
Yeah. I do.
Oh, sorry.
You go for it.
I think I believe that to an extent, but I think what it all comes down to in the beginning, that they were based on religion, those moral values. I think that, even from, the ancient times, they believed in gods, and those gods gave them morals and values.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, from Elder Oaks talk, he talked about how when the church went back into Albania, the government was so thankful for religion because they had lost all moral values. And so I think I agree with Amy. Morals stem from religion, whether people acknowledge that or not. They stem from religion, and you don't necessarily have to be religious to have moral values, but they do stem from religion, I feel.
Yeah. Good point.
Okay, I think we're done.
Awesome, guys. Well, good job. We did it.
Good job, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, have a good weekend.
Yeah, you guys.